The concept of allowing my heart and feelings and emotions, pretty much what makes us feminine and female is honestly pretty new to me through life's experiences, the wounds that we go through, those hard times. I really just came to the conclusion that my heart did not serve me well when it came to just getting life done. And man, did I ever back that up with evidence. And here I am today realizing that if I ever want to embrace my identity, purpose, and find that joy that God has for me, I need to step back, realize that there actually is a place for my heart. And guess what? God, Jesus, my heart matters to them too. So, welcome back to Joyfully Made Podcast. If you are new here, my name is Shelly Shelke, and I am all about this journey. I am all about figuring out who I am in my new stage of life at 45. I just don't want to know that there's a God. Amazing. There is a God, but I don't think that knowledge is enough to get me from where I am today to thriving instead of surviving. Does that resonate? Y'all, I know it resonates because I cannot be the only one. If I am, okay, so be it. I'm still going on this journey. Me and you, or just me. I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm actually so excited about this episode, which, to be honest, this episode was going to be, like I said, an episode, which I titled, When Jesus Makes a Pit Stop to Make Sure You Are Okay. Oh, I just love that in itself. Don't worry, I'm going to get to it. Like I said, I'm so excited for this episode, but as I was working on it, and to be honest, I'm kind of excited for every episode. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this episode and then I'm going to do this episode. And I'm just excited. Okay. If you saw my notes in my phone, it's like episode. And my mind just blows up with everyone. And I'm like, I can't wait to share it. And literally just a couple days ago, God's like, okay, whoa, Shell, it's a journey. It's not a flipping race. And I'm like, right. Okay. So today's episode, which was supposed to be one episode, has now turned into a series, and so far it is going to be 3 episodes. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it, like I said, and we are just going to dive right in. Growing up, I grew up in a Christian home. I went to church, and like I said, I always knew and believed there was a God, and I think I could kind of get the concept of God the Father because I had a pretty stable father figure at home. He loved me. I also kind of knew who was in charge, kind of like we understand God to be, right? He's the guy. He's got a plan, whether we like or do not like the plan, he's got a plan, we're just here to go along with it. Okay. I feel like you must know what I'm talking about. And then when it came to knowing Jesus, to me, he was the dude that just walked by me all the time. It was, I'm going to actually expand on that later in the episode. But I'm just going to leave it at that. And the Holy Spirit, I don't know. He was this concept that honestly, I'm still learning to understand. Again, it's a journey. But I think essentially, as I said, growing up, I'm naturally probably not a super emotional person. As I said, that is all new to me. I really just found tears to be annoying. I was very much Shelly, pick yourself up, dust yourself off. These emotions aren't going to serve you. They're going to get you literally nowhere. This is the way I used to talk to my poor heart. That's so unkind. That's so unkind. And I'm learning now how unkind that really was. And what I have also learned is through my journey of getting to know God, Jesus, essentially getting to know myself, which is kind of cool. I feel like they're all intertwined. I'm realizing how deeply he actually cares about my heart. And something I have started literally, I will just say to myself, my heart matters. That's hard. When I started telling myself that my heart mattered, couldn't do it without dry eyes. Like, to actually stop and say, my heart matters, try it, okay? Let me know what you think of that. To begin this series, understanding how Jesus sees our beautiful feminine hearts, we are going to start in John chapter 20. We're going to read from 1 to 18. Please be patient with me because if you're new here, I have low vision and I have to have things super enlarged for me to see them. Okay, so we are going to start. This is called The Resurrection. Jesus is raised from the dead, but nobody knows it yet. And we are going to start here, John chapter 20, verse 1. Early on Sunday morning, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and found that the stones had been rolled away from the entrance. She ran and found Simon Peter and the other disciples, that one whom Jesus loved. She said, "They have taken the Lord's body out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him." Peter and the other disciples started out for the tomb. They were both running, but the other disciples outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He stopped and looked in and saw the linen wrappings lying there, but he didn't go in. Then Simon Peter arrived and went inside. He also noticed the linen wrappings lying there, while the cloth that had covered Jesus' head was folded up and lying apart from the other wrappings. Then the disciple who had reached the tomb first also went in, and he saw and believed. For until then, they still hadn't understood the scriptures that said Jesus must rise from the dead. Then they went home. Okay, so the men left, and Mary stayed. Mary was standing outside the tomb crying. Okay. That makes me laugh. Like, poor Mary. She's like, I'm not leaving. Okay, I don't know. That just kind of strikes me as funny, as Mary's just left there crying and the men leave. Okay, and later on we find that they go leave and hide behind locked doors, which I also think is so funny. Okay, verse 11. Mary was standing outside the tomb crying, and as she wept, she stopped and looked in. She saw two white-robed angels and sitting at the head of she saw two white-robed angels, one sitting at the head and the other at the foot of the place where the body of Jesus had been lying. "Dear woman, why are you crying?" the angels asked her. "Because they have taken away my Lord," she replied, "and I don't know where they have put him." She turned to leave and saw someone standing there. It was Jesus, but she didn't recognize him. "Dear woman, why are you crying?" Jesus asked. "Who are you looking for?" She thought he was the gardener. "Sir," she said, "if you have taken him away, tell me, where have you put him, and I will go and get him." "Mary," Jesus said. She turned to him and cried out, "Rabboni," which is Hebrew for teacher. "Don't cling to me," Jesus said, "for I haven't yet ascended to my Father, but go find my brothers and tell them I am ascending to my Father and to your Father, my God and your God." Mary Magdalene found the disciples and told them the message. Okay, I'm going to stop there, but again, right after, it says that the disciples in the evening were they were hiding in a locked room. I feel like that's so somewhat representative of like the mama bear. The mama bear in me would be like not willing to leave that tube until I've known what happened. Again, let's just visit the whole feminine heart thing here, because again, to me, it's still new. So when I read this and I'm like, okay, honestly, I might have just left with the men, but I feel like, I might have left with, maybe they were contriving a plan. I don't know. Although it is kind of sad that they just left Mary crying there. Would I have been Mary standing there heartbroken, crying alone? Probably not. Would I have started to come up with a plan and look for weapons? I wonder, like, did she realize she was talking to angels? It's so weird that there was randomly two white guys in robes talking to her. I don't know if she was just so grief stricken. It's such an intriguing story to me, especially because she's just standing there sobbing and I want to go get him. And I literally would have been like talking to the angels and been like, okay, what's the plan? Guys, do you have a sword? Where's the armor? Give me the shield. I'm going to go find him. Come hell or high water, I'm getting him back. That definitely would have been me. But the fact that Mary Magdalene, whom Jesus cast out seven demons, whom Jesus cast out seven demons from, I think speaks so truly and deeply to the fact that he does care about our hearts, and our hearts do matter. Of all the people that Jesus could have shown himself to, he chose him to reveal himself to Mary and let her know that it's okay. He still has a plan, gave her a job to do, and she went and delivered that message. I find myself wondering why. Like, why Mary? Why was this sobbing woman who, yes, she traveled with them, so, she was part of the inner circle, but she wasn't one of, like, the dudes, the disciples that he sent off on their own. Like, I'm sure she had jobs and stuff like that, but I really find myself stopping and thinking, like, why of all the people that he could have revealed himself to, why did he choose Mary? And the only conclusion that we can come to is that our heart matters to God. That he saw the situation, maybe he saw it from a logical point, and he was like, okay, the guys are fine. They're talking in the room. They've got the locked doors, but here is Mary. Here is Mary outside my tomb, devastated, looking for me, sobbing, and maybe, just maybe he was moved by her tears. Are you guys moved by that? I just made myself speechless. It's always a gift when I make myself speechless. But every time I read that story and I think on it, I'm like, no, wait. My heart does matter. And it is okay to allow my heart to be feminine. It's okay to have the tears. It's okay to have the emotions because Jesus made me. God made our emotions. He made us this way. And he actually is moved by our tears. Jesus does care about our heart. And if my heart matters to him, it should truly matter to me. I was saying earlier how I always felt like Jesus was the guy that kind of just walked by me. So I just want to share a story with you, expand on that. Growing up like in a church, also growing up as somebody with a disability, there was always those moments when you had the opportunity to go up to the front and, put your hand up because you want healing. Of course, as a little girl and you grow up in that environment, of course, I'm going to always go up and be like, ooh, me, I want to be healed. I don't want to be the person with low vision anymore, whatever. And well, you can understand how I would put together that I kind of saw Jesus as a guy that would always walk by me because, you read in the Bible, like, Son of David, have mercy on me. That's literally the blind men, they're called in the Bible, yelling and being like, come heal me. And then he did. But, growing up, and I'm always like, okay, Son of David, I'm ready. Come heal me. And, I'm not healed. I started to see Jesus as, like I said, the guy that would walk by me. I think too, just going through, as I shared before in other episodes, just the experience of maybe always feeling, or at times feeling like I didn't really fit in, which maybe would translate at that time to my heart as I wasn't good enough. Again, I kind of just felt like it was like, oh, okay, maybe next time, right? I was on like the next time train, that kind of person. So that's how I viewed Jesus. And quite a few years ago now, there's this Wild at Heart. I don't know if you've heard of that ministry. It's an amazing ministry. And there's something called the Captivating Experience. It's on their website and in their app. And I was doing this experience, and I can't remember, like, it's like you watch a video and then you read some stuff and you answer questions. And I don't actually remember what the prompt was for the question, but I do remember I was just chilling in the tub that night. And well, that was my only quiet space. Okay. So, and I was doing this Captivating Experience. And I don't remember what the prompt was that I was supposed to actually ask, but that thought, that heart belief came up that I am just always the person that Jesus is going to walk by. That came up for me. And as I was sitting there thinking on it, it was like I just heard Jesus say, it wasn't me. And at that moment, it was just so, all of a sudden I had clarity. And I realized that maybe it wasn't Jesus. Maybe it was humans being humans, I don't think anybody was intentionally trying to be hurtful, but just Jesus speaking to my heart as he did, just saying it wasn't me, really gave me this moment of clarification where I could be like, okay, wow, maybe it wasn't Jesus. And I was finally able to begin to see him in a different light, begin to see him as like a human, maybe somebody who does care about my heart, maybe not the guy who walks by me, maybe somebody whom I can talk to. Another amazing book, which honestly I might do a Bible study on, or a book study on it. I really love it. It's called The Beautiful Outlaw, and it is all about Jesus and just stuff that I had never heard before. It's giving him a personality. Like, I think we do ourselves such an injustice when we read a story, like, you know, when we read the resurrection story and we just brush over the fact that, you know, the very first person Jesus appears to and shows himself to was Mary, as she's standing there sobbing. Like, maybe he's like, okay, I need to let Mary know that she's okay. Maybe. What if when we continue this journey and as we read these stories, what if we stop and be like, okay, what if Jesus does care about my heart? What if my heart does matter? What if he is making that pit stop to say, hey, Shell, you're okay. It's going to be okay. I get it. I understand. And I want you to know that I am moved by your tears and I am here. If we then believe and continue on that thought process that our heart matters to God, to Jesus, then we're also going to have to admit that Jesus had a heart, that he had emotions, that there is love there. There is love to be shared. And maybe that's a truth. I would say bring that right back to your truth journal. Like, is that a truth that we struggle with? That, like, we are actually loved. Our heart does matter. I found one of my favorite passages, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 14 to 19, I think. When I think of all this, I fall to my knees and I pray to the Father, the creator of everything in heaven and on earth. I pray that from his glorious, unlimited resources, he will empower you with inner strength through his Spirit. Then Christ will make his home in your hearts as you trust in him. Your roots will go down roots, did you guys get that? Your roots will go down into God's love and keep you strong. And may you have the power to understand, as all God's people should, how wide, how long, how high, and how deep his love is. May you experience the love of Christ. The love of Christ. Okay, there must be a heart there, right? Like, we can't read this. We can't read the Bible from a perspective of, there's a God up in heaven and he has a really low voice and he's going to tell you what to do, whether you like it or not. Like, that's not a relationship. You can't read the Bible and forget that Jesus was moved by Mary's tears and showed up to her first. Maybe there's another reason. Go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but I love that reason because it reminds me that my heart matters too. Okay. May you experience the love of Christ, though it is too great to understand fully. Then you will be more complete with all the fullness of life and the power that comes from God. That's all. That whole passage, that's a good one. That should go in your Truth and Promise journal. That's all about just being rooted in the belief that God loves us, that we can be rooted in love. Bringing it back to, those of us who were raised in that environment, which is amazing. I am never diminishing that. Please don't ever think that. But there does come that point in our lives where we have to just be like, okay, there is either more to this God, Jesus thing, or it's literally just the guy in the sky, or maybe he's the guy in the building, the church that you attend. If we don't come to that conclusion that there's got to be more, then what is the point? Also, I don't feel like we can come to the conclusion that there's more if we forget to give them a personality. If we don't read the Bible and be like, oh, maybe God does love me. Maybe Jesus was moved by Mary's tears. There's a heart. If you read the Gospels and Jesus has zero personality, then again, how can you ever feel like you know him? And part of this, I think this whole there's so much I want to say and so much I'm trying to say, and I hope it's translating. This is going to sound totally weird. Don't worry, I'm going to bring it back around. But remember, as I said before, if you missed it, I don't know. But I do, but sell makeup online. And I mentioned before that I was in this social selling school academy thing. It was just about getting people to know you, to understand you, to trust you. And when I think about this journey and my journey for the past 4 years, I always think about something that's called the know, like, trust factor. Now, this is for all my good me brains. If you're like me and you like the good logical stuff, step over here with me, okay? Because this is where we're going to learn to know, we're going to learn to like, and then we're going to learn to trust. I feel like there is so much to know, to like, and to trust about God, about Jesus, about this journey. But I do know that it's a journey. And again, that's what we're doing today. This whole scene with Mary, I think it teaches us that, again, I started with, my heart matters. Your heart matters. And why does it matter? Because it matters to God. And he has a heart and he loves us. And as we do this and we begin to look at more of these stories where Jesus showed up and was literally just moved by that feminine heart that I tend to fight tooth and nail, we just get to learn more and trust him even more. And then I think essentially our roots are going to grow deeper, and we're going to be more rooted in that love. And it's just, I know maybe you're like, wow, what? She's not making any sense. I hope I'm making sense. But it's all going to come back around. It's all going to come back around because we are going to learn to know, to like, and we're going to learn to trust. And it's all going to make sense. Okay. So for the homework today, literally your only homework, your challenge for this week is to those moments when maybe you're going to be like Shelly and tell yourself to dust yourself off, suck it up, or even when you're crying or you're frustrated or whatever, just take that deep breath, remember this story about Mary and Jesus, and just remind yourself that my heart does matter. Okay, I totally forgot to pray. Sometimes I forget. I apologize. Let's do a quick prayer and then I will see you in the Facebook group. And if you could comment, like, subscribe, share, do all of those things, that would be amazing. Okay. Oh, Jesus, thank you so much for meeting us here today. Thank you. Thank you that you do care about our hearts and that you are always there and you are always watching, even sometimes when we aren't aware of it. I pray that you would just bring it back to our memories this week, that our hearts matter and they matter to us and they also matter to you. I ask that you would just bless this week, bless this day, and just help this word to continue to grow. And as we continue on this journey, let us be strengthened in that purpose and that love and knowing and learning to love ourselves and who you truly created us to be. Okay. Thank you for being here, for hanging out, and I will see you in the next episode or over in the Joyfully Made Community Facebook group.